I'm at the beggar for eating someone else's birthday cake. So this happened the other week when myself and my friends, males and females ranging from 27, 31, were celebrating my friend's birthday theme at the restaurant. Next to us was another table, similar ages, no kids. Judging from balloons and presents, who was also celebrating a birthday. The dinner went by normally, and when it came for dessert, some waiters came out with cake for Tim and saying happy birthday. We divided up the cake and began eating. Turns out the cake wasn't for Tim and was meant for the table next to us. The waiter came over and asked us to stop eating the cake as it wasn't for us. We laughed as we thought it was a joke, and we were halfway through at this point. We noticed the other tables staring daggers at us. We stopped eating and didn't outright apologize, but said to the other table we didn't know. Who checks to make sure someone organized this cake specifically for the team? You were at the birthday and you see cake, so you eat it. After dinner, the other table yelled at us in the car park, calling us bad guys for eating their cake and for laughing when asked to give it back. I assume if anyone are bad guys, it's the restaurant. What do you think? I'm at the bad guy for refusing to rotate events between my parents. It's a tale as old as time. My parents stayed together for the kids. They got divorced 5 years ago. Basically, the second my youngest sibling left for college. I'm married with kids of my own, and nothing much changed for us other than now seeing my parents separately for the most part. I have 4 kids, all in elementary or middle school. This means we have lots of stuff going on, from school plays, sport matches to recitals. My parents are active and involved grandparents, and they both try to come to as many of these things as possible. We had, of course, about 2 years where these things were not really happening so much. But now we are finally back to normal schedule, and these types of things are back on. For the same reason, my parents' divorce proceeding have dragged on for longer that they should have, and the financial stuff is still being hashed out. Unfortunately, it has gone from relatively civil to hostile. I'm not taking sides. I love both my parents as do my kids. Their divorce is not my business. But lately, my dad has been saying he doesn't want to go to places where my mom is going to be and ask if he can rotate the grandchild events with her. I understand him not wanting to interact with her. That's fine. But he can easily attend these things without having to. He can sit on the other side of the bleachers or auditorium and never ever see her. My mom is perfectly content to do just that and doesn't want to have to miss anything. This is all dad. I told him there is really no reason he can't go to, say, a school play and just sit as far away from mom as possible. She doesn't want to talk to him either, and neither are the type to ever make a scene. So no, I'm not going to make a rotation. They're both invited to all of these things, and dad is free to go or not. It's his choice. Needless to say, dad is not pleased. Mom thinks it's perfectly fair, but she is obviously biased. Husband agrees with me. One brother agrees with me, but that's because he's likely proposing soon and is worried about dad being like this for all the wedding related events. My other siblings and younger and don't really have that sort of thing of their minds and are saying I'm being unfair to dad. But maybe they have a point. I'm at the bad guy for no, I'm handling this. I'm at the bad guy for not being the nicest about my known father having cancer. Hello, I'm Sophie, and I have 2 old half brothers. The man who had been raising me as my father found out I was not his biological child. My 2 older brothers are, when I was 7, and promptly abandoned me and divorced my mom. He was very involved up until this point, and was actually in the middle of coaching my soccer team when it happened. He abandoned that too, and the assistant coach had to take over. Anyways, he ended up paying child support to my mom for me, probably because he was the breadwinner, and him leaving my mom left us soon pretty dire financial circumstances. I was also yanked out of the private school my brothers and I attended. He remarried a few years ago to a woman with a daughter a year younger than me, and promptly did everything with her that he used to do with me. Hurrah for them! So for more a year, of high school, some organization was hosting a father-daughter dance in our school gym. While I was around campus with some friends, can remember, and we vandalized the fancy car he pulled up in. Not something I'm proud of, but I'm mentioning here because although I paid for half the cost of repairs, he graciously paid the other half and decided to not the press charges. Anyways, now the old man has cancer. Both brothers and stepdaughter are out of state with school, and his wife has early arthritis or something, not really sure. He calls my mom and asks her if either of us could drive him to and from chemotherapy. We were in the car and he was on speaker, so I told him no. That's something family does, and he's made it very clear. He doesn't see either of us as family, and hung up. Mom is doing things like bringing casseroles and driving him. I don't try to stop her, but I don't help her either. She has recently started to try and guilt me into it, saying he always paid child support, to which I said the amount of money he lost on that was about as impactful as a fart in the wind for all money bags. He didn't press charges about his car, to which I said great, he did one nice thing to me so he can get one casserole or one car ride. Now my siblings and his stepdaughter have all flown in, and my brother says he, not dad, really needs to speak to me. I said to tell him that if he has something to say to me, I don't want to hear it, and if he writes me a letter, I'm not opening it. I said I was sorry for what they were going through, but that his mate is very clear. I'm not his family, and so I don't want them asking me for things they will ask of family. However, they're struggling, and the more they ask for help, the more my patience wears thin, and the more insensitive my rejections get. My mother recently talked with me about being the bigger person. And also, please don't leave comments like, the real bad guy is your mom for cheating and committing paternity fraud. Like, thanks for that one, Sherlock, and my mother and I have reconciled. So, am I the bad guy here? Am I the bad guy for neutering a cat that was clearly owned? I run a TNR program for feral cats. Non-profit, I catch all cats and get them the medical attention they need myself. Out of my own pocket, I love helping them. A lot of the cats are not able to be rehomed, so I'll fix them and release them. Gets them their shorts, and I hope for the best. I'm not a large-scale operation. Recently, I was called to an area overrun with orange cats. They were everywhere, and I mostly ended up handing it over to professionals. I did, however, manage to grab 3 very sweet cats. 2 were terrified, skinny, a little beaten up, but overall friendly. The 3rd one was a little giant. He was chubby, well-groomed, fish patterned collar, the works. My plan was to find his parents and drop him off with a warning to keep him in due to the large amount of traps being set. Then the little bastard sprayed the inside of my car to the freaking max. So apparently he wasn't fixed. I couldn't really tell and assumed he was, so left my covers off. Big mistake. I debated taking him home or taking him to get neutered with the rest. He was an indoor-outdoor cat, indicated by his collar tag. And with so many strays, I'm certain some were carrying his genetics. Ultimately, I took him with me and got him neutered. No cheap, so I called the number on his tag, informed that where their cat was, and gave them time slots to pick him up or have him dropped off. The owners went ballistic. They were cursing me out and came to collect their cat not 20 minutes later. Called me a kidnapper, blamed me for their child having nightmares, scared over their cat going missing. I tried to explain that he needed to be fixed if he was going to be inside, but they didn't want to know. They said I should have called immediately regardless. I spoke to my rescue friend who said I was in the wrong, even though we know we are technically in the right. We didn't have the legal ground to do that, and it wasn't my decision to make. I did apologize, but have blocked their numbers. The mom is flaming me on Facebook and damning people I know. I have a duty to care for stray cats. Me knowing an unneutered male was roaming free and not doing anything about it was a concern for said stray cats. Things are still tense between my rescue buddy and I don't completely disagree. I know I crossed the line, even if it was for the greater good. People I'm finding out, so I'm not sure who to really believe was right here. So I'm not the bad guy here.